Hi guys, I'm Charlie, a Charlie Book Fanatic. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my December wrap up, and this is going to be a long video because I read 18 things in the month of December and only one was a DNF. Also, it's snowing! Look, snow! So I was thinking, how am I going to do this? But I'm going to start with my 1-star read because I had 2, and I'm going to go upwards in star rating. The first book I rated 1 star was The 3-Body Problem. It's the first book in the Remembrance of Earth's Past trilogy by Cixin. This book has people of colour in it, and it is the first book in the series. But this is also the book I DNF'd. It is a science fiction novel, and I honestly couldn't get into it. I had no clue what this book was about. Like, I think I read 100 pages or more. Like, I was really struggling to get through it, but I read so much of it that I felt like I could give it a 1-star rating because honestly I had no clue what I was reading. The book is supposed to be about these different camps who are trying to fight against the aliens that are oncoming or are trying to work with the aliens. Like, there are different camps, but I didn't get any of that from this book. And the other book I gave a 1-star rating was one I did finish, and it is a popular book, and that is Every Heart a Doorway, which is the first book in the Wayward Children series by Shannon McGuire. This book has LGBTQIA+ elements as well as people of colour in it. And I just didn't like this. I didn't like it for multiple reasons. I felt like it was too short to be a full-on story. The world building was severely lacking. I had no clue what all of these worlds these characters were talking about even were. The third thing is that all these characters were severely lacking in character development. Like, they got a trait assigned, like a sexuality. Like, this character is asexual, this character is transgender, but nothing else is really told about these characters. They were just that thing. Just also there was a murder mystery added to this, and what murder mystery? Why is this murder mystery? There was just, the amount of pages was not enough to tell this whole story. It was so rushed. I didn't feel like there was anything in this novel that I got from it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Let's move on to my 2-star ratings. The first one is a short story collection called Nocturnes, which I got from the library by Kazuo Ishiguro. This short story collection had 5 short stories about music in it. And honestly, all of the characters were one-dimensional in these stories, and I had no clue what these stories were about. They were so bland and about daily life, and nothing happened in any of these stories. My favorite story from this collection would have to be the title story, which is Nocturne. And that was about a man who went to get plastic surgery because his manager, he's a musician, his manager encouraged him to do it, as well as his ex-wife who divorced him. This man is supposed to be really ugly, and so he went and got plastic surgery, and then there was a celebrity in the room next to his, and he met the celebrity and hung out with her, and they went on a nightly adventure to steal an award, or to bring back an award that the celebrity had stolen for him. It's weird. Now, my other 2-star read was the YA fantasy standalone Ash by Malinda Lo. This book has LGBTQ+ elements in it, and it is a Cinderella retelling with a lesbian relationship. And I didn't like it. I didn't really. I thought I gave it 2 stars for the lesbian relationship in it. Not the relationship was good, but just the idea behind it. But the execution of it just wasn't good. Like, there was a love triangle sort of in this, and I didn't get what the author was trying to do with it. It didn't make any sort of sense, and the writing style really didn't capture my attention in any way. I didn't get the fae element in this book. Like, there were fairies added, but they didn't add anything to the book, as well as it was full of cliches. There was nothing original in here. I didn't feel any connection to the characters. They weren't likable or unlikable to me. I was just neutral towards them, and I think I'd rather I really hated them than feel nothing at all. Now let's move on to my 3-star reads. The first one is A What Light, which is a standalone YA contemporary by J. Asher. I read another book by J. Asher, which was 13 Reasons Why, which I absolutely hated, but I decided to give A What Light, which is a Christmas story, a try. It's about a girl who goes for Christmas to this Christmas farm. Her family owns this Christmas farm and they have to sell Christmas trees to all of these families. And she meets a boy and starts dating him, and that is what basically this book is about. But this boy has a really weird backstory, and if I was this girl and I would have only known this guy for like 2 to 3 weeks, and I would have heard his backstory, not just the rumors, but his story from him, I would have been like, I need to go. I need to run. I think I'm not even wearing a watch. I would be just like, I'm late. Bye. All of the main character's friends were just plot devices. They weren't really even her friends. Like, the main character was a shitty friend, but her friends were just always there to help her in a relationship with the love interest. I did like what the author was trying to do with the friendship element in this, but it was more about the main character and her love interest than anything else. The setting was great though. The Christmas farm. My second 2-star read was Under Rose-Tainted Skies by Louise Gornall. This is a book about a girl who suffers from agoraphobia as well as OCD. She can't leave her house. And then a boy moves in next door and he sees her struggling to get her groceries because the delivery guy left her groceries outside on the porch. She can't go outside. The neighbor boy helps her, and that is how they meet. And I thought this was really cute. I realized how similar it sounds to Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. Haven't read that one, but I really loved this. I thought it was great, but I just felt like it got kind of repetitive. It's probably really realistic because I've heard someone with agoraphobia say it was really realistic to her situation. Aside from that, I just didn't. It felt kind of repetitive and boring after a while to just follow this character who can't leave her house. Like, everything takes place inside her house. As well as her relationship with the love interest was really cute. I want the love interest as a guy for myself. Like, he was so sweet. Then I read Ain't She Sweet, which is a standalone adult contemporary romance novel by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. This book had a side character who was a lesbian. And I read another book by Susan Elizabeth Phillips, which was Kiss of an Angel, I believe. But this book was about a woman who left her hometown after being a popular kid and comes back with multiple marriages behind her and just old, and she isn't friends with anyone anymore, and her old boyfriend has married her half sister, and yeah, it's crazy. So she comes back to town, everybody hates her, and she is just going back because her aunt died and she has to take care of the house. But yeah, it's crazy. Everyone hates her, everyone's trying to take revenge on her. And I liked it, and I especially liked how sudden it was, but aside from that, I didn't like the romance. Like, I didn't like the love interest at all. I felt like he was so immature, and I didn't get how he fell in love with Sugar Beth, the main character, like, that's really her name. After hating her for so long. I also don't get how this man, who was their teacher, he's friends with the people he was teaching in high school. Yeah, I know. Then I read a poetry collection called A Whiskey Word and a Shovel Part 2 by R.H. Sin. I also rated this one 3 stars. And I didn't read part 1, but I got part 2 because it was nominated in the Goodreads Awards. So I picked it up and I thought it sounded interesting, so I read it, and this wasn't my sort of poetry. Like, it just was. There were a couple of poems I liked, but it really wasn't anything special to me. I just didn't feel anything. Another 3-star read was Elizabeth the Queen by Sally Beetle Smith. This is a biography about Elizabeth II. And I have to say, I bought this once in a secondhand bookshop, but I'm not really interested in Elizabeth the Queen. This was interesting, but I feel like Smith was trying too hard to praise the Queen, and there was less honesty in this and more like, oh my god, the Queen is so great, she just smiled at someone, wow, best human ever. Like, that is how this biography sounded to me, and that is, I like an honest portrayal, not like, oh my god, the Queen, she is so sweet to people, she just made this joke. Like, the Queen never jokes. She's a human, of course she jokes. My last 3-star read was this graphic novel, Miss Marvel Volume 1 No Normal. I read 3 volumes, but they weren't in the right order. This one I gave 3 stars. I also read Volume 5, which I gave 5 stars, and I read Volume 6, which I gave 4 stars. So I read Volume 5 first. I don't know how this happened. I read Volume 5 and Volume 6 on my phone, and I just got mixed up. I don't know why, but Volume 5 started in a way I could easily get into it. So I thought it was the first volume. But there were some things I didn't get, like people were talking about it being an origin story, and I was like, Miss Marvel's origin story isn't even explained. But that was because it was Volume 5. Then I read Volume 6, which I rated 4 stars. And then I read Volume 1. And I bought a physical copy. I want to buy all of the volumes. Honestly, if I read this one first, I might not have wanted to continue on with this series. But because I've read Volume 5 and Volume 6 already, I know I love this series. Which might explain why I'm going to continue on with this series. I hope I like Volume 2 and Volume 3, but at least I know I like Volume 5 and Volume 6, you know. This is a superhero story about Kamala Khan. This story features LGBTQ plus elements like lesbian relationships and people of color, like Kamala Khan, who is Miss Marvel, is a person of color, and I love the diversity in this. And just that Kamala is a superhero, but she's also a human, a high school student. And I feel like this was more superhero story in Volume 5 and Volume 6, more her personal life, and I liked that more, like seeing her as a high school student than her just being the superhero that she is. And 2 Jane Austen books I've read. The first one was a novella called Lady Susan. I rated this one 4 stars. It's about a mother who is divorced and she tries to marry off her daughter to an inappropriate suitor, as well as trying to marry herself off, and I thought it was a funny story. Not really anything I would necessarily recommend, but I really like this one. I like everything Jane Austen writes, like literally everything. I don't think she can do me wrong. Then I also read a full-on novel by Jane Austen, which was Mansfield Park. This is another favourite by Jane Austen for me. So good. It's about Fanny, who is a shy child, and she gets to live with her rich family, her own family. Like her mother and her father are quite poor, and she gets to live with her aunt and her uncle, who are rich. And her best friend is her cousin, and most of the book is about them organising a play. And I thought the first half, which was about this play, was quite boring, but then after that, there's so much symbolism in this, and I especially loved the afterword, that Tony Parker, I believe he's called, added to this book, because it reminded me of how much symbolism there is in Jane Austen's works, and it really added to the overall story of this book for me. I love Austen's writing style, her characters, and how passive this main character was, and all her other main characters are really active on the foreground characters, and Fanny was more like an onlooker, and I felt like that was super interesting. Like, it's getting dark, I have to talk fast. Then another 4-star read was The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. This is a modern classic, I think brought out in 1965, and S.E. Hinton has been saying some things on Twitter she shouldn't have said about LGBT people, like especially gay people, and it was particularly about this book. This is a story she wrote about kind of her youth. It's about the greasers, who are people with grease in their hair, and just kind of a criminal gang, and the rich people, so poor against the rich mostly. And she wrote it about her own youth and how she experienced it. But aside from that, people have been commenting on how they have interpreted some characters as gay in this book, and they asked her about it, and she was saying that they were having high school girl fantasies, like they couldn't be interpreted as gay. You can't say that kind of stuff. People can interpret characters as gay. You can't just flat out say these characters aren't gay. These characters, stop with your girlish fantasies. That you can't say that, because you brought out these characters in the world and you gave them to the people. They're not just your characters anymore. But I really love this book. I can separate art from the artist, and I loved this book. I loved how the characters were developed. The family aspect of this was amazing, it was incredible. The writing style, I loved it. I got through it so quickly. It's a very short book, and I probably won't read anything else by S.E. Hinton just because of the way she has been saying things, but this was good. I would recommend reading it. I also read The Wide White Sea, which is a novella by Patrick Ness. This is the novella after the second book in the series, The Ask and the Answer, and I rate this one 4 stars. I don't get why I like the novels less than I like the novellas. Like, Ness has an amazing writing style. Like, I get really into his novellas, but I think the novellas were released after his novels, and I can see how he has developed as a writer throughout the years. Like, he became so much better at writing his characters, but also because this novella was written not phonetically. His novels in the series have been written phonetically, and this novella wasn't like that at all. And I like that more. Like, the phonetic speaking just bothers me, and I really noticed that. Obviously, can't really say anything about this novella, but it's about a romance between a human and a speckle, and a speckle is really an alien in this world. So it's very taboo, and I love reading about it because it was about completely different characters from the original series. I got from the library This Is Where It Ends by Marieke Nijkamp, and I can pronounce her name because I'm Dutch. Marieke Nijkamp is Dutch. This book is about a school shooting. It has people of color in it, Hispanic people, and LGBTQ+ elements. 2 of the characters are gay, and I don't know why I love this so much. Like, a lot of people have been criticizing it, but I just really felt for these characters. I cried. I sobbed after finishing this book, just because the shooter and who the shooter turned out to be, and how this person could have done these things with the people he knew. It hit me right in the feels. I would really recommend this one if you want to read about a school shooting, because it takes place in 54 minutes. And the story takes place by the minute. It follows different people outside the school, people inside the school, people inside the gymnasium where the shooting takes place, but also people outside of it. So yeah, it was really, really impactful, but also very devastating. Then I have one more 5-star read to talk about, which I also got from the library but had to return meanwhile. Aside from Miss Marvel Volume 5, obviously, I also read Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and this is literally everything I wanted from a fantasy novel. It's about Agnieszka, who gets taken by the dragon, who is a man, not really a dragon. His nickname is the dragon. He's a magician, and she gets taken to this tower where she gets locked up in, and she starts studying magic with this magician, the dragon. And it's amazing. It's literally incredible. The magic system in this was so unique, and I loved everything about it. The romance was also something that interested me. I know some people weren't really that invested in the romance and thought it was completely out of nowhere, but I really liked how it's developed and how these 2 characters got to know each other. Also the ending just got to me. It wasn't even that bad, but just, the ending. This was everything I wanted. I'm not a huge fantasy reader, but this book is one of my new favorites, and I'm so sad I made my favorites video before I could talk about this book, because you need to read it. It is so good. And it's a standalone book, so you don't have to commit to an entire series. You can just read this incredible, phenomenal fantasy novel with a full story in it. It's also Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I would say it's like Beauty and the Beast / Rapunzel, because she gets locked in a tower and even climbs out of the tower with sheets. Like, literally Rapunzel all over. So this is my December wrap up. It's probably going to be a very long video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you read in December. How many books did you read in the entire year? Have you read any of these books, and what did you think about them? I would love to know. And the quality of this video has gone down gradually. I mean the visual quality, because light, it's literally dark outside. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.